Oh no! This is not a modern art exhibit, but rather it's the final stage in my pursuit of a real-life proof of one of the most absurdly useful theorems in math, the Wobbly table theorem. If you have a table that's wobbly because of an uneven surface, sometimes it's an easy fix. For example, in this case, I can see that I should just turn the table so that it sits flat and doesn't wobble. But what if the surface isn't just a single bump like this, but it's filled with hundreds of random surface irregularities? Well, surprisingly, not only will there always be at least one spot where all legs of the table touch the ground, but to find that spot, all you have to do is rotate the table, and the spot will always be found somewhere between 0 and 1/4 turn from where you started. To understand why the Wobbly table theorem exists, we have to understand the most obvious yet surprisingly hard to prove theorem called the intermediate value theorem. So imagine that you're hiking on a trail that's 500 meters above sea level, and the trail ends at 100 meters above sea level. Well, it's pretty obvious that we can be certain that no matter what the trail looks like, I'll have to pass through 200 meters above sea level at some point. But this simple idea took over 100 years to prove mathematically. It says that for any continuous function that starts at one value and ends at another, the function must pass through every value between them at least once. But what does this have to do with a wobbly table? Well, when we have the table on a wobbly surface, we can always get at least 3 legs touching the ground. And the 4th leg will be in the air. So let's say we measure the height of the table leg that's off the ground and call that point 1. And then now let's rotate the table a full 1/4 turn. But the requirement is that the same 3 legs stay touching the ground. Well, you'll find that the 4th leg that was above the ground now has to be in the ground with a negative height. So that means that somewhere along the 1/4 turn, our table leg that was in the way went from a positive height to a negative height, while the other 3 legs were always touching the ground. So by the intermediate value theorem, there had to have been some height that was at 0 when the function of table leg height above the surface went from positive to negative. In other words, the continuous function of table leg height must have 0 somewhere in it at least once. It could have more, but it has to have at least 1 0. And since the other legs are always touching the ground, that means that within 1/4 turn of the table, there will always be at least one spot where all 4 legs are on the ground. So let's actually try this out. But before we do that, more important than not having wobbly floors is having clean floors. So let me tell you about our sponsor, MOVA. The coolest thing about this robot, first off, is that it can climb. It can actually get over thresholds up to 6 centimeters. So I stuck a board in front of it, and sure enough, it climbed right over. I've tested a lot of robot vacuums, but this one might be the most complete system I've ever used. It's called the MOVA V50 Ultra Complete Robot Vacuum and Mop. And it's not just smart, it's built to solve the things robot vacuums usually struggle with. It can clean any surface. It vacuums with 24,000 pascals of suction for easy cleaning of carpets. And then it applies 8 newtons of force for getting in deep grooves with its mopping pads. So it can easily clean any surface. It also lifts up its mop when going over carpet so that it doesn't get your carpets wet. Also, it can extend its brush and mop while it cleans to easily get into hard to reach spaces. And what's really cool is it can even lower its laser navigation system to get into low spaces. And if you have any pets, this vacuum's ideal. It has a triple anti-tangle system so that if it sucks up pet hair or strings, it doesn't get caught in the rollers. And also it has space for 2 different types of cleaners as well. I have my regular floor cleaning solution and also my pet deodorizer solution. And don't worry about stinky mop smell because the robot cleans its mop with 80 degrees Celsius water and then thoroughly dries the mops afterwards. So if you want to check out the MOVA V50 Ultra Complete, you can click the link in the description. And don't forget to use the code below for your exclusive bonus bundle. Now let's get back to our experiment. Okay, I'm at the thrift store looking for the perfect table for this. And do you guys realize how groundbreaking this could be? This could be the first real-world application of the wobbly table theorem since Vladimir Arnold first came up with it in the 1990s. This is going to be groundbreaking. Okay, found the table, and I've hidden it in the clothes section because it looks like the thrift store is hopping today. So this is going to be our table we're going to test it with. Okay, level 1. I've just sat down for a nice dinner on kind of a cobblestone street. I've got 4 different surfaces that I have to deal with here. And sure enough, the table is really wobbly. So the question is, if I turn it just less than a quarter turn, can I get it to be stable? Okay, I shouldn't even have to analyze anything really. Let's do a quarter turn. Whoa, that already fixed it. Look at that. Almost no wobble, that was lucky. Okay, we were able to do this really easily, so let's take it up a notch. Let's go to a more wobbly surface. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention I'm dressed up because I'm at a nice dinner. Okay, next we've got an unstable boardwalk. Super shaky table on these boards. Let's just give it a little turn, see if we can find something more stable. Oh, that's way worse. And it's solid. Look at that. Just like that, any surface, now it's just completely not wobbly at all, just as stable as can be. Passed. Okay, now we've got not so much a normal surface, but a purposefully uneven surface. So this is huge variability here. Very unstable. Let's see with less than a quarter turn if we can get it to be completely stable. Okay. Still got a little bit there. Nope. Oh, look at that. Wow. So it's not exactly straight anymore, but notice how it doesn't wobble. No wobble at all. So even on a very uneven, lots of variability in the surface, you can get the table to not wobble at all. Let's say this time you now find yourself on top of boulders eating a meal. But inevitably, your table is very wobbly. Oh no. So let's see if it's possible, even in this extreme environment, for me to just turn it less than a quarter turn and there's some stable point. Okay, let's see here. This is gonna be much harder. Let's try this way first. Oh. Okay, that's pretty stable. Look at that. Not bad at all. Okay, so look at this stable surface we found. So that leg's balanced on the edge there. This one's barely hooked in right there. This one's got this corner, and this one's stable on the edge there. No wobble at all. No tilt on it at all. Every part I push is stable. So we found a stable local minimum here. Okay, so in the end, you can have a nice dinner on top of a boulder. And thanks for watching another episode of the Action Lab. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, remember to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.